So, hello everybody. Welcome to today's SERPA question and answer session. My name's Lindsay Masfelix. I'm a SERPA practitioner, and I also run my own pain recovery coaching business. But more importantly, I am joined by the amazing Tanja here, who has got the most incredible recovery story, and she used the mind-body approach, and I'm just so excited to speak to you today. So welcome, Tanja. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me today, Lindsay. I'm so
You are
excited to share
so
my story
welcome.
today.
Yeah, so welcome. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to allow for people to join us. I know sometimes it takes a few minutes for people to click on the right button and be with us. If anybody is joining us as we speak, before we get into this fantastic conversation with Tanja, please feel free to say a hello in the comments section. You can, if you're brave enough to, say hi, and maybe where you're joining us from, and then I will be able to give you a shout out, say hello back, and also if you have any questions, anything at all that you would like to ask Tanja and myself about this wonderful work that we've both come across, then feel free. So just, feel free to say a quick hi. If not, I will then just launch into this fabulous conversation that we're going to have. I can see a few people just joining us now. Maybe
Nice.
there's a few people joining. So I might just, Tanja, I might just get you to introduce yourself, who you are, where you're from, and what you're currently doing, and then we can go into your backstory, can't we?
Yes. First of all, I would love to know when people join live where you're from, because I lived all over the globe, and it's always so interesting for me to see where people are joining in from.
Exactly.
So I'm Tanja. I'm a chronic pain and burnout mentor. I'm from Germany, from a tiny village near the French border. And fun fact, I'm currently here. Like I've mentioned, I've left the country in 2017. I left Germany, and I've been digital nomading and nomading ever since. So it was very interesting when I had health issues, and that was one part that wasn't as pleasant anymore, let's say.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got Brianna. Hello, Brianna. Brianna's from England. She's joining us, and we've got Bronwyn, who's in Warwickshire. So they're both in the UK. Hello, both of you. Yeah, lovely to meet you. So if anyone else joins, feel free to say a hello, and don't forget, as the conversation develops between myself and Tanja, that you can ask any questions. And
Yes.
my little saying is that no questions are ever silly questions. And also it might just be that you would like to share, or you might like to comment. You might not have a question, but you just might like to add something to the conversation. So Tanja, shall we dive in this
Yes,
case?
absolutely.
Shall we get cracking? Because I've obviously read a little bit about this incredible story of yours, and the amount of diagnoses that you were given. The fact that I think it said at one point that you were practically bedridden for a couple of years. So why don't you tell me about the woman who is in that place? If you're happy to start there, maybe tell us about, what diagnosis you were given, who that Tanja was, what was going on, and then we can take it from there.
So that Tanja was a shell of the person I am right now.
Yeah.
I'm currently recovering from an ankle sprain though. So it's very, very interesting how it reminds me of this bedridden Tanja, but she's totally different, more empowered now, and trusts that she can heal, and is practicing patience again, and compassion and all the things. So back then, funny enough, my story didn't start when I was in my early 30s and I was bedridden. It started when I was a teenager already, and nobody really told me it was TMS. Like nobody really in my family knows what that means, a mind-body condition. So it started with a lot of bloating, no matter what I ate, in my early 20s. And even in my teenage years, I already had migraines frequently, probably. But once I had it for 2 weeks, And I was also pretty bedbound. And I remember I was in my room and it was like all dark, and it's the only thing that helped.
Yeah.
And it just disappeared after that. So I guess rest, and I didn't really worry about it not going away because I was so young.
Yeah.
There was less suppressed emotions when I was 15 than, over 30.
Yeah.
And I had the IBS diagnosis when I was in Australia. I was working a customer service job where I was working in 3 languages, so English, Spanish, and German, which I all speak pretty fluent. And I had 3 chats and an email, and then coworkers around me talking to me as well. So it was a lot of multitasking, which for the nervous system now looking back is I was constantly in fight flight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Overwhelmed. I was
Yeah.
constantly in a rush. I was constantly in urgency, and I didn't really have any tools to support myself.
Yeah.
So a lot of people said, oh, when you leave Australia and you leave this job, the IBS will be gone. And fun fact, I was really in Germany and it was gone. I was staying with my family and I was just transitioning, going back to Mexico because that's what I wanted. And I wanted to become a digital nomad. And in Mexico, people said, and it did disappear in Germany. And then when I got to Mexico, it restarted. And everybody said, oh, it's the bad water. It's the spicy food. That was my favorite. It's the spicy food.
Yeah.
And I bought into it. And it was worse on the coast than it was in different places. In like the mountains, for example, where the water quality was better. So I just believed that narrative. And the amount of foods that I was able to eat got smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
And again, I left Latin America. I went back to Europe and I didn't really have the issue anymore, or just rarely. I had intense bloating. Like I couldn't wear jeans anymore at that point.
Yeah.
But in Europe, it always got better. So everybody said, it's the food. I fed the narrative and I believed it. But the real awakening or downfall for me came when we were in the pandemic and I was feeling really burnt out because I was working as an online German teacher for a language school.
Yeah.
And I was very overworked. So this is one of the patterns that I was engaging in. People pleasing, and then having like scarcity as well. It was the pandemic. I wanted to make money. I was really underpaid. And I had probably like 6 video calls a day. So that makes what? I was around 25, 30 video calls a week.
Yeah.
Sometimes 3, 4 in a row, 3, 4 hours, no toilet break, nothing. And that on office equipment that wasn't office equipment. And because I was temporarily living in Spain and I wasn't sure how long I'm going to stay and all this kind of stuff. And then I did one day, I already had a little bit of low back pain, which was something really new for me. I never had any pain issues in my back. And one day I did a yoga pose, the downward dog, on a video call with a friend. And suddenly I had shooting pain into my bottom. And from that day on, I was somebody that identified with chronic low back pain. And very fast, within a few weeks, it went to my hip. I went to probably 15 physical therapists. Some did manual therapy. Some gave me exercises. I was the best student. I did those exercises every single day, evening and morning. And I currently met somebody that's in the same situation, and she isn't open to the mind-body approach. So it really hurts my heart because I know I've been her and I can't do anything because when someone is not open, you can't really help. And I didn't have access to anybody that knew about mind-body healing. So nobody really said, hey, could this be something psychosomatic? Could this be stress?
Yeah.
No one said that.
Yeah.
So I went to an osteopath. I went to the chiropractor. I think the chiropractor, I played that game for a year. I went to specialists because I was in my early 30s. I must have been 32. So it got worse and worse. And I was living between my laptop and my bed. That was everything. And I couldn't ride my bike anymore. So I was completely stuck at home because I didn't have a car yet. I was isolated. I felt lonely. I felt frustrated. And I was very scared because I was like, this is my life now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just gone.
I
was someone hiking and active, swimming, cycling, running even.
Yeah.
Everything gone.
Yeah. So the emotional melting pot, what we now know, what we know now with this work, but obviously that so many people, as you're saying, don't know, is that we do all of the things, you know, that we feel are best to fix the situation that we're in. But
yes,
it's that very fixing. And for anyone who's here that doesn't know, my backstory literally was my backstory. So I had chronic back pain for 10 years, amongst other things. So when Tanja explains this episode of her life, boy, do I understand it. Your universe shrinks, your fear grows, and basically you are entrapped, aren't you, inside that fear and that body. So sorry to hijack. It's just that I associate so much with what you're saying. And I'm sure anybody on, you know, the call here that's been suffering from chronic pain anywhere in the body. And we've been joined by Lynn in Bristol. Hello, Lynn. And also Caroline, who's in London. So yeah, anyone here who's been associating with that or indeed are working with people, I don't think people ever realize how lonely that place is. So sorry, Tanja, because I hear and feel your words so deeply. So, but carry on.
There were friends that pulled out a yoga mat and they were really supportive. And there were also friends that didn't come visit me at all, that, you know, like they were really active. So there was not really much we could do anymore. So not only, you know, was I in pain and wasn't able to work much, at the same time, I was so isolated, and I was living in a beach village in Spain, which is the dream on the outside on paper, but it was like a nightmare.
Yeah.
And the worst was when I picked up that book from Louisa Hay. I think it's Heal Your Body or Heal Your Life or something like that. And it says, okay, it's because of a lack of self-love. And I was like, oh, wow, I blame myself. I was like, okay, so I'm not loving myself enough. So how can I love myself? So I made this exact step-by-step plan in 4 weeks, a healing plan. And it was not with love. It was with urgency. Yeah. It included all those physical therapy exercise every day, eating perfectly. I was vegetarian back then, which wasn't helping as well for my body.
Yeah, so I'm hearing a lot of perfectionism, a lot of internal self-induced pressures which are driving to get well, pushing to get well. Yeah,
because that was my default, my personality trait.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, I get it.
That's what always had worked. Like I was pushing through. That's what I was taught. Work hard, work even harder when it doesn't work.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I bought every tool under the sun, you know, those acupressure mats and like everything, massage guns, like everything you could get, I had it. Yeah. All the specialists, until I went to a specialist because I had gone to the gym because people told me to build muscle. And I built muscle really, really hard. And I had an inflammation in my hip. So you could actually see it on the x-ray. Overtraining or whatever they said. I think there was, you know, a coping mechanism that instead of feeling anger and frustration, anything about my work or private life, my coping mechanism was, I'll go to the gym, I feel better.
Yeah.
Instead of sitting with those emotions in a moment in my body before going to the gym, because movement, of course, is healthy, but it always depends on your why and your intention behind it.
Exactly. And the drivers and the pressure that you're putting under yourself. Yeah.
Again, it was pressure.
Yeah.
So I went because in Spain, they clearly couldn't help me. And it wasn't just a language issue, but the healthcare system was so bad. And luckily, I had a European health card. So I went in Germany as well when I was here for Christmas, and the doctor said I had hip dysplasia. And I was like, wow, now I have clarity. Now I know what to do. And he said, you can never dance Zumba again, because he knew I liked to dance Zumba and bachata. So telling a 32-year-old or 33, you can never dance again, never run again. was insane. And I
Devastating.
researched that diagnosis, and it also said, which now in hindsight I know it's TMS.
Yeah.
It said tension myositis syndrome as well, with the hip dysplasia. And he also said that he didn't explain it was psychosomatic or anything. And the research I didn't find much back then on Google. We didn't have AI yet.
Yeah.
And the hip dysplasia was really scary for me because it said I need a hip replacement by 40. I'm now 36 and a half. And I'm paid free. So I'm like, interesting.
Yeah.
And after that, other diagnoses followed. I had suddenly, also through the gym was the narrative that I tried to believe. I had wrist pain in both hands, carpal tunnel, they called it, or tendonitis.
Yeah.
And it also would have required surgery, apparently.
Yeah.
And I had, what else did I experience? Insomnia, high anxiety, depressive episodes for sure, where I didn't even want to get up anymore in the morning. I was like, what's the point of this?
Yeah.
And then at some point I tried, because I figured out that I was feeling unhappy with myself because I didn't want to just be a German language teacher. I wanted to really help people make an impact. And that I didn't see possible when you have ever-changing students and the language school matches you with people. And you rarely get the same because it was really huge. And that didn't sit well with me. So I started working with a life coach and figured out that I wanted to be a coach myself. I just didn't know who I wanted to help. So I helped people with like figuring out their purpose and their confidence. And I had a very few clients, but it never really took off because I rarely was able to take care of myself.
Yeah.
So a business coach I spoke to, I was like, I can't invest in this because I need to figure out my health. There must be a way. And there was this curiosity sparked. And also I had a new relationship back then that didn't work out, but I had a new relationship. And this is also, I tried to control everything. And this is also what the hand pain was like bringing on. I think it was all too much too soon.
Yeah.
And that business coach recommended me to somebody that actually taught me how to do somatic healing and body-based tools. And this was very new to me because I was very into like mindset. And I always tried with Joe Dispenza, I tried really hard to visualize myself healthy.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm doing it wrong. Like, I got to think positive, right? Like, your thoughts are creating things and all these limiting beliefs. And I was like, I felt like failing. And when I found that somatic healing course for the first time in my life, I think I felt seen and I felt like there was no pressure. And also I was able to just feel things and I was able to say things how they are, and that resonated with me.
Yeah. So that was a really powerful shift for you in your, everything seemed to connect.
And I said I was lazy, and my coach said, listen, I think you have overachieving patterns. You're the opposite. I get dizzy by just you telling me the amount of stuff you did in one day and you aren't feeling good. You got to slow down. And I was like, I can't slow down. I'm self-employed. I have to make money. And it was just like, keep pushing. But every session, she literally said, you need to slow down. How can you slow down? How can you teach your system, that your nervous system, your body and mind, that it's safe to do less and to actually rest and actually take breaks and implement little breaks of connection, I call them, with myself. Because for me, slowing down was always like, okay, so I can't do anything. But it was actually creating a better balance and taking breaks. So I could still do several things in one day, but in a different way and listening to my body.
Yeah. And these sound like to me that they really were fundamental changes for you.
Yes.
You know, yeah. So literally.
But it wasn't a straight line. It wasn't I learned somatic healing and then that was just it and I was healed. Unfortunately, it was not like that.
Yeah. So
Unfortunately.
we've got Graham here who's joined from Birmingham as well. If anybody has any questions for Tanja, any questions at all, I'll continue to have a chat with her, and I'm going to ask her now. I think that's a really important part of the discussion. Both myself and Tanja have both overcome chronic symptoms, and our stories will be very unique and very individual. You know, and things that might have worked for me, for example, maybe for Tanja, they wouldn't have worked, or, you know, vice versa. So actually, why don't you tell us? Because I'm very well aware that no recovery journey is linear, because life isn't linear.
No.
So welcome to life, people.
Yes.
We might think we're going along, breezing along, and we've got it, and we're high-fiving, and everything seems to be going our way, and it will be. And then something lifey, as I call it, will happen. Something lifey will happen, because we all have relationships. We all have families. We all have kids, jobs. We live in a very, overstimulated world, let's face it.
Yes.
There's going to be things which you would never even imagine, because we're not consciously aware of them, which are going to throw us off course. So why don't you tell us, Tanja, about your recovery, and maybe the things that you experienced that weren't linear, but actually maybe you could share with us the practices that regrounded you, that kept you up, that brought you back, that maybe put you back on track? Because I'd love to hear about that.
So the reason I said why it wasn't linear was that it made it a little bit better, and then it made it worse again. I would have an argument with my boyfriend, or now ex-boyfriend, and I went back to my house and I was like, oh wow, my hands are hurting. And I didn't see the connection at first, because the practitioners I worked with, they didn't, I wasn't fully consciously and subconsciously aware that what was creating my chronic symptoms were suppressed emotions and stress.
Yeah.
The puzzle pieces didn't fall together yet.
Yeah.
But when I suddenly had, I went into the cold water to ground after I worked with an energy healer, and that just brought me relief in the moment. So I left the energy healer and it was painful for 10 minutes. And I got curious. I was like, wow, if he can do that, I must be able to do this by myself somehow. And he didn't teach me the tools.
Yeah.
And then when I went into cold water the next day, I suddenly had bladder issues. I had to run to the toilet every 10 minutes. And it was so intense, it took me out of everything again. So I was already a bit better. And the hip pain was better, because now I had the hand pain, and that was louder. So one symptom got less, and then the other one came on. And I was like, okay, what is worse?
Yeah, we're chasing. It's amazing, isn't it, how we start to... You are on the pathway to healing, but obviously your nervous system and your brain are now, because as you're saying, the actual root causes, the emotional safety that we are learning isn't quite in place yet. So it's going to try something else to get your attention.
Exactly, and it really got my attention. And I was hanging out with my friends that I call my spiritual friends in Spain, and I didn't have to pee for 2-3 hours, and I was drinking tea and everything. I was like, I felt safe, and it started like making sense. And then I met somebody that told me about Nicole Sachs's work and TMS, and I was like, oh wow, this is why suppressed stress and emotions, traumas, that makes so much sense. And I call it writing therapy, because I do it in a different way. I don't do exact 20 minutes, because with the patterns that I had,
I am just nodding. I identify with what you're going to say. I know what you're going to say.
Like having to force myself into something, and because I wasn't used to feel any other emotion besides sadness. Sadness, I was so great at. It was easy for me to cry, but I would be crying. It would throw me in a whole depressive episode for days on end if I did 20 minutes of writing about what happened in my emotions. So what I did is I was being a rebel, and I was like, you know what? I love this method. I love journaling. I always loved writing, but I'm doing this on my terms. And that's why I call it writing therapy, because it's therapy for myself. And I don't have to do something that somebody tells me that I have to do, like the physical therapist, for example. I get to make my own choice what is good for my system and my body, because I might be more sensitive or different than others. And for others, they need to do 20 minutes to get to the emotions.
Yeah.
So I did like 20 minutes 2 times a week, or I did 10 minutes a day. I really experimented also with the time of the day, because some people said, oh, don't do it in the evening because then you can't sleep, or all these kind of narratives. So I was like, you know what, I'll just experiment and let myself see what works best.
Yeah.
And then I also did soothing practices, and I did radical rest days. So this is something that I invented because I realized that it's in society not really taught, and it's also not really something like when you rest a lot, you're lazy. So that narrative. And I was like, no, I'm doing radical rest days. I put my phone away, or I did even just an hour or two. It doesn't have to be a whole day. Put my phone away, and I heard about artificial nervous system regulation. So sometimes I just watched a movie that was funny on Netflix, and that gave my brain different information.
Yeah.
And I read books that had nothing to do with mind-body conditions. So I took a break as well, because at some point I was like, I'm falling back into this pattern of trying so hard. So I was like, no. And I would be drinking tea, and I would do my somatic healing practices. So something that I like is to orient yourself in the space. I call it lazy eyes, because you can lazily move your eyes just all through your space, and it's really soothing for my system. Something that didn't work for me was hugging a pillow, because I had a breakup back then, and it felt like, you know, hugging someone but somebody not really being there. So it made me really
it's triggering, isn't it? Yeah.
And then I also learned that discomfort wasn't a lack of safety. It was just, it triggered an old memory. And that's why that wasn't soothing for me in the moment. But if I wanted to get to sadness, for example, or I wanted to feel the emotions of the breakup instead of suppressing them, then that was a really good practice. But to soothe myself after doing writing therapy, for me, it was better to drink like a mindful tea, or to just put my hands on my face and close my eyes.
Yeah.
You can even do this. The listeners here, you can even do that for a moment, to just take a break.
Yeah.
And just feel where you touch your face and how that feels in your body.
Yeah. And what I love about the way you're describing it, Tanja, is, and it's so powerful, and I think to anybody who is listening, who's on their journey, no matter what stage you're at the beginning, middle, end, and forevermore, because I always say that these practices that we've now learned, they become part of your life. And I think exactly as you just said, they become part of your life because genuinely they are joyful. They aren't practices to prevent me from being in pain. They aren't practices to get rid of the pain. They are practices that boost my sense of safety and well-being, and they just feel good. They feel nice. There's no other way of putting it. So, and I love the way that you described the things which have worked for you. And I think that's so important. So, you know, when we're working with people, everybody's so unique. Our journeys obviously are so unique. And I loved what you said about the journaling. I completely associate with that too. I'm also of the mind that we learn these skills if we take to them and we enjoy them and we see the benefits of them. But when we start to pressurize ourselves that I must, when we hear the words, I should, I need, I must, then you know instinctively, am I forcing too hard? Am I trying too hard? It should be something that almost the feeling comes over you and you just instinctively think, actually, you know what? This emotion's sitting with me. What could I do? What practices do I take to that I can use? So I love the way that you describe that. And I'm sure hopefully anyone here, if you do have any questions or just comments about things that you've been trying, or maybe you feel a little bit stuck, then share them, because I'm sure Tanja's got some fantastic, solutions or some advice that she can give you. But I love the way that you present that. And I think it's really important because this world is growing. Thankfully, this world is growing. Thankfully, there are more and more people who are trained in somatic practices, who are trained in emotional awareness and expression work, who are trained, you know, in all of the fantastic things that Tanya's been doing. But it's about finding the right things for yourself and being confident, as you said, and being empowered enough, just as you've said with this journey, to say, you know what, these are the things that I need in this moment. That could be completely different this afternoon. So yeah, so please continue, because I think what I'm really interested to hear now is how you obviously have embodied this work. You took it on board. So can we hear about how your life changed and what you were able to do and what, you know,
trying to feel it.
Yeah.
Do we have time that I do a little live practice?
Yeah, we do.
Tanja
We absolutely do. We have another one for now. So great question.
She's asking, any tips on how to feel an emotion in the body without trying to feel it? This is a really good question. Okay, I'll share with you a quick exercise. And if you're sitting down, that would be perfect. You can also lay down. Standing up might not be that ideal, but if that's where you are, then you can also come back to the recording. But I would invite you to orient yourself in the room. So just let your eyes sway, make sure everything is in its place. Making sure the window is closed or open, depending on that the temperature is right. If you need to change anything, feel free to do that. If your eyes want to land on something, let them land on something. I have this beautiful flower. And you can see which pattern it has, or shape, or if you're still looking around and letting your eyes sway, that's fine too. And then just slowly lowering your gaze or closing your eyes. You don't have to close your eyes. You can lower your gaze if that feels safer for you and more accessible. And then just noticing where the feet are meeting the ground, where your bottom is meeting your chair or the surface you're laying or sitting on. Having your spine upright. See if there's something in your body that is calling you attention. Is there any tension or something not feeling so good? Maybe a little twitching. And then just observing it. See if this has a color, what the sensations are like. Do they have a pattern? Maybe a sound? Or something they want to tell you, a message. Is there nervous feeling, sad, something different? Is there something coming to your mind, any thought? Maybe even this is stupid. Or what am I doing here? Something completely different. And then just letting those thoughts pass by and focusing on the sensations. And if they get too much, you can choose a place in your body that feels neutral or good. Maybe the tip of your nose. It can be a tiny space or a bigger one. And do the same thing we did, where you feel into the sensation, see if there's a color or a pattern. And you can sway between what feels neutral and good and what feels not so great. Because often the brain wants to guide us to what's not working and what's hurting. So let's see if you can bring yourself to the part that feels neutral without pushing yourself. Gently bringing yourself back. See if that wants to expand. And then asking your body what it most needs. Maybe it's a little hug, or swaying from right to left, or opening your eyes, having water. There's no right or wrong, and you can choose your own way of coming back. You don't have to stare at the screen. You can orient yourself again, or have a sip of water. Finding your own way of coming back. This is how I would feel an emotion without trying to feel it. And seeing what bodily sensation there is. Lindsay, I think your video is gone. Oh, here we are again.
Sorry, I had to let my cat out. It was making too much noise.
Oh, I didn't even hear it. Oh, nice. Cute. I love cats.
Sorry, that was absolutely beautiful. And that was a fantastic demonstration to anybody. Yes. I'm going to go through the comments in a minute, everybody, but that was a beautiful somatic exercise, essentially, wasn't it? In learning that sense of safety, not only with the emotional self, but also the physical sensations which arise in the body. Because I think for some people, it can be, sometimes when they say a double-edged sword, because they've become so hypervigilant with the physical responses that we're having, the emotional root causes, automatically they go there first. And what I love about that exercise is that we were pendulating. We can come in and out.
Yes, pendulate.
Yeah, exactly. To be able to actually sit and find with a sense of safety that emotional root cause, that emotional sense that's been held within the body. So that was absolutely gorgeous. And I am sorry that I had to hide myself for a second because,
that's all good.
Because my cat was being really naughty.
Cute.
Yeah, so let's so Caroline is saying it's so great to hear Tanja speak about journaling, because there are so many different voices in this space now saying different things about it, and it's hard to know. Sorry, my screen just moved. Hard to know who to follow. Yeah, absolutely. And just as Tanja said, and I am very much of the mind, I completely agree with Tanja. I think journaling, therapeutic journaling, is such an incredibly powerful tool. If it's for you, and it actually isn't always for everybody. And I think in this journey, the one thing I will say is if we can just remember to release the pressure from ourselves. So you will know if something has a hold on you, you will feel it. And if it does, then that could be a great cue to say, you know what, I'm going to explore this. I'm going to journal, but don't feel that you must or should do this for a set amount of time every single day, because your nervous system is just going to see that as a big old fat threat. It's not going to like that pressure that you're putting on yourself. So I love the fact that you shared that. It's a very really useful. Graham says, hi, the fear of the pain flares up. To not drop into distress and panic is a sticking point. Any tips on this? Oh yeah, Tanja.
Oh yes, my favorite topic. Because like I was the queen of panicking and stressing and all that. So the first thing I would say about this is, what is your why for coming to this work? And you might say, oh, I want to, be pain-free and all that. And then also what is really good is giving yourself compassion. So I would say I totally understand that you feel that way. And I would tell that myself in my head. You can also write it down, or you can make a voice message to yourself and be like, you know what? I sometimes call myself sweetie or love. And I say, okay, love, listen, this is okay to feel. This is so valid. It's okay to be scared. And let's sit with this fear. Maybe we can write it a letter. Or maybe we could question it and explore it and be like, okay, what does this panic want to tell me? And this distress? What has happened that brought me here? Why would I even worry about this, right? I'm seeing people out there that have healed. This is possible for me too. Like, they're living proof. And what I love to do when I felt like I was distressing, I would pause. I would feel that in my body, like we just did in that practice. And then one of my, and also very affordable tool to use to retrain the brain and bring safety to the nervous system is to turn on a podcast. I have one, Nicole Sachs has one, so many people, or a live training like this. I love when I just listen with my ears. That gives me safety because I feel like we are so overstimulated. So often when I watch something, I don't watch the video, I just listen to the audio. And I would lay down and I would do nothing else than listening to that. Or I would be engaging in an activity that scared me, which was at the gym, for example. I loved exercising, but I was deeply scared to re-injure myself. So I would always, and I still do this up to this point, I would turn on a podcast and listen to a recovery story. Because your brain needs evidence. It needs evidence that it's possible. And if you cannot find the evidence in yourself yet, you got to find it from other people. Or also, if you have evidence, even more amazing, and something would be, I was pain-free for 2 minutes, or I dared to go to the grocery store and have the milk or something like that, that before gave me stomach cramps or something like that, right? Like make a little wins list and pin this to your fridge so you can always see it and read it. Feel into your body about it.
Yeah, I love those. I love those, Graham. I hope they're really helpful. And also, I again, me and Tanja are so aligned in our thoughts. I couldn't agree more with everything that she's just said. I think it's very easy with, there are so many fantastic people, as I said earlier, working in this space. We will hear similar messages or sometimes conflicting messages.
Yes.
I actually think, in all essence, exactly as Tanja said, you know, when you feel that fear, just as Tanja said, it's valid. Again, I'm talking a lot about pressure and judgment, that inner critic. When you're on this journey, there's a danger that you could slip into, oh my goodness, I shouldn't be feeling this fear. I mustn't be feeling this fear because I'm doing this and it's TMS and all my... You can step back. You can do exactly as Tanja just said. You stop, you pause, you take that lovely deep belly breath, get into the body, slow yourself down, allow your system to have that space, and then essentially allow that fear just to be there. It doesn't have to be there all day, but by actually allowing it in the moment, to acknowledge and recognize that this is a valid emotion, that I shouldn't feel guilt, I shouldn't feel shame that I'm having this moment, and then to reassure, to reframe your situation with something realistic, which might be, this is going to pass. You know, this will pass. It's you know, just as the seasons, just as the daylight is changing here in my room and it's getting ever darker, you know, it will pass. And so I think we're very aligned in that. I think it's a beautiful, simple practice.
There's a fine line between I'm sending signals of safety to my brain and my nervous system, and also this like toxic positivity I see in the wellness and in the personal development space.
Yeah.
And I've literally had people tell me, Tanja, what you're saying is contradicting. And I'm like, yes, it is.
Yes, it is. To allow that emotion is so important.
Exactly. And also it depends where you are in your specific journey. And at that moment, I had a point in my journey where I was not able to listen to any recovery story because I just wanted to take my phone and smash it against the wall because I was like, okay, everyone is healing and I'm not. I hate this. Yeah. And that's when, for me, the journaling came in and the writing therapy came in, and I was able to let that out and let that be felt. Yeah. So it really depends. There was a point in my journey when I was able to engage in visualization practices again. And there's lots of tools out there and lots of people, but I would encourage you to listen to your body and your intuition, because you're guided to certain conversations and certain people for a reason. Yeah. And it could also be like, oh, I can't stand her voice. Okay, fine. That happened for me as well.
Yeah.
So there's no like right or wrong, right? Like it depends how you feel in your body when you're listening to somebody. Does that bring you comfort? Does it make you think? Does it give you safety or maybe just hope?
Yeah. It's like it's
That's
motivating.
a really good sign.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. And Graham said, I think that exercise just answered my questions. Laughing out loud, thanks. Well, it's brilliant. And it's so simple. It's so simple.
Yes.
He said it's really, really helpful. And I do get better days, and I'm saving this recording. And you will have better days. You will. And we're only human, as I said. And if we don't, then we just do what we can to accept it for what it is, not always easy. And then we move forwards, because tomorrow is literally another day. Graham said, yes, I fear the fear. And that's so common. So there's a layer behind the original fear, and you fear your own emotional reaction to having that fear. And that is so human. Graham, you're a human being, and we're just doing our best. But if you just hold on to the things that Tanja said today, then they will set you in really good stead. And thank you very much. It's very helpful, and it makes simple sense. And Caroline said, I think it's hard to tell the difference between I'm allowing myself to feel anger and sadness to come up, or these feelings of hopelessness. Now that's interesting, isn't it, Tanja? What do you think about that?
Okay, so anger and sadness is easier to, or is that easier? Can you clarify?
Yeah, so I think what Caroline's saying is it's hard to tell the difference between I'm going to allow those, say, anger and sadness to come up as emotions, or is this feelings of hopelessness? So it's almost like we're judging our emotions.
Yes. Oh,
and
okay,
are we slipping into kind of a feeling of being hopeless? I think that's what you mean, Caroline. Hopefully I've interpreted that correctly.
I think that feeling of hopelessness is something that wants to be allowed as well. And that's also part of the journey. Like when you have been, and when you are going through something so hard, it's probably one of the hardest things you're going through in your whole life. Then it's valid to have feelings of hopelessness as well. And also, we're not robots, we're not machines. So you can feel hopeful one day, and the next day you can feel like it's all not going to work. So I believe that there's no bad or good emotions, and that anything can be allowed in that moment, and this shall pass too. Like Lindsay said before, it's temporary, and it's okay to feel that. Even anything you feel, even whilst listening to us, is so valid as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's really important. And I think what we're really looking into is the judgment of having these feelings in the first place. If we go right back to the basics in our mind body world, in our TMS, call it what you like, the mind body connection. Ultimately, the work with SERPA is looking at the root causes. What are the driving forces behind this pain? Why is my body communicating in this way? So if you can just become mindful and aware of any feelings of guilt or shame because you've had a hopeless feeling, then you're starting to unlock something. And just to reassure yourself in that moment that this is valid, this is okay. This is something that I'm working through, and to remind yourself that, look, I'm also doing all of these other things which are going to start to bring joy. And I think Tanja mentioned this earlier, and it's so important. Yes, we're on this recovery journey. Yes, we want this for you, and we know that you can do it. We know you can because we've done it, and
100%.
we are giving you some hope. And I think at the same point, it's about just checking in and just giving yourself space to also live your life. You don't have to, you're watching this today, which is brilliant, and hopefully we're sharing something important, but give yourself time off. We want you to enjoy life. Life is for living. Go on a walk. Notice the things around you. Notice the things you can do. Notice the people in your life that give you that love and support. Have a day off from reading about this, or, it's balance, isn't it? It's balance.
Yes.
You're learning
back.
Yeah, you're learning brilliant things. So before our time is nearly coming to a close, but I would love to hear from Tanja, if we can, what you're doing now with your life, how you're helping people. Why don't you share that, from that place of darkness and isolation and loneliness and despair, without being over dramatic, because that's what it's like when we're lost in chronic pain.
Yes.
Finding the light, and like, what is Tanja doing now? Who is she now? I'd love to know who she is now.
So right now I'm recovering from an ankle injury that happened in Italy a few weeks ago. And it's been really interesting because like a couple of things with medical trauma has been coming up. So I've been working through that with all the tools that I've learned that I know that work. And I'm also practicing a lot of patience. And I'm very grateful for the things that I can do. And I'm at 20 minutes walking now. And, you know, learning also what is the difference between an acute injury and something chronic, because with an acute injury I can indulge in like putting cream on it and, you know, like all that kind of stuff that we do, and also allowing myself that that is supportive right now. So that's been really good. And other than that, I am still wanting to create a home base. I have a normal life, even I do have that injury right now, but like I can cook, I can clean, I can do all the things. I allow myself to rest. I am not as isolated anymore. I'm currently visiting my family in Germany. I've just spent time with my niece and my nephew yesterday and my best friend, and everybody was there, and things are not as overwhelming anymore. I can eat anything, even German sausage.
Yay!
I had to eat German sausage. Amazing. Or
Oh my
steak.
God,
I had steak 2 days
fabulous.
ago. That would have been very heavy to my stomach
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
And it isn't. In Italy, I was eating ice cream and pasta and pizza all in one day, and it was great. It's all about balance.
It sounds like a dream.
And no bloating. I can have coffee and cappuccino and all the things, and I don't have to run to the toilet because of the bladder. So literally, I'm beyond grateful of living a normal life. I have created a pain relief starter kit for people like I was back then, because I was like, ooh, I need to create something that is easy for people. So I guess it's probably linked later on, and you can download that. And I do share a healing letter once a week with my email community as well. That is really soothing, and it has the occasional practice. It's not overwhelming. Sometimes I send 2 a week if I'm creative, feeling creative.
Absolutely. Do you have access to the chat there, Tanya? Do you want to pop your link into the chat if you want? Don't feel pressurized. Don't feel pressurized. Just if you have.
Can you still see me if I'm Googling?
I can see you whilst you're typing, and we have a few minutes left, so that's amazing. So everyone here knows how to access Tanya and her fabulous initiative.
I have a links document. Also, if you have any last questions, feel free to.
Yeah. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to ask either myself or Tanya before we let her get back to her amazing German food?
How can I do comments here?
Oh, there should be.
I can see them, but I can't send anything.
Here. Yeah. It should show up, hopefully.
And people see this? Studio chat, it says?
You know what? I'm not sure they can, but if not, let's not worry. We will, as instructed. If you send it to me after this chat, we will send it across to the powers that be at SERPA. And I'm sure when this gets replayed, they will be able to pop it into the caption so that people can find you and can find your amazing work and your incredible, hopeful story. And I just truly hope that anyone who's listening today, has taken just one thing that might just guide them today. That's what this process is, isn't it? It's a step-by-step, minute by minute, second by second process. So Graham says, thanks, Tanya Lindsay. I may contact one of you after Christmas if I feel a bit of coaching would help. Absolutely, Graham. Yeah, I'm sure. Tanya, you worked with people, didn't you?
I work remotely with people, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
After Christmas, though, not right now.
Not exactly. We're having Christmas, but I personally, as part of my recovery, and still, so yes, I'm coaching, but I still have my own coaching sessions, if that makes sense. So I practice what I preach. I think we all need times throughout our life where we need support from others. One of the biggest learnings ever is that being vulnerable and asking for that help is just a superhuman, strength that you acquire. And I think it's so positive and powerful. So Tanya, after Christmas, because she's going to have a fabulous Christmas, eating all of that great. Are you staying in Germany over Christmas, Tanya?
Yes. I was meant to go to Argentina, but then the universe sent me this injury and the lessons I'm very grateful for. So that's why I'm currently here. And in the new year, I will be relocating somewhere else. Yeah. And I'm excited because it will be with lots of community and
That's the power, isn't it? And I think I'm getting such a sense of life from you now that, you're just, we are human, as we said, so don't put any of you under pressure, because I want you to know that as a coach, I haven't got it all sewn up. I still get stuff that comes up in my body. Okay. So yes, I have debilitating chronic back pain. I will still get things that happen to me. I will still go back to the drawing board. As I said, life gets lively. We have things that get in the way. But when you learn these tools and these practices, it just you become easier on yourself, and the journey just becomes easier, and things have less impact. But we are human, so these things will happen. But yeah, I would like to thank you, Tanja, for everything. Thank you so much, Tanja. I hate asking, but found many similar things in you and my story. Don't worry, I'm skint. Well, that's fine. Graham's got no money until February. Well, that's quite normal, Graham, because it's Christmas coming up.
and New Year, like, I don't know how this will work, but tax stuff and social security payments and all that stuff comes always in January. So
exactly. And Brianna said, thank you for a fabulous talk. Well, it wouldn't have been fabulous without your fabulous questions.
Exactly.
And it wouldn't have been such a lovely, supportive, safe place without Tanja's incredible story. So we've got a couple of minutes, and I'm going to ask Tanja one thing. If somebody is at the stage in their journey where they feel stuck, you know what I mean? You've kind of made some progress and you start to get a little bit stuck and frustrated. If there was just like one thing that you could say to them, what would you say? I don't want to put you too much on the spot, but
one thing? Okay, so two things come to my mind. And one is it's temporary. It will pass.
Yeah.
And the second one is getting support. Being stuck on your own is really, really hard. I don't recommend. I've been there, done that, and it just it just took so much longer. It's an easier path when you have someone holding your hand and walking the path with you. And like Lindsay said, none of us is like perfect or has it all figured out. But once you have your tools you can refer to, and you're supported for continuously amount of time, because I see a lot of people jumping from one person to another, from one teaching to another, which is valid in the experimentation phase. And then committing with somebody and allowing yourself to receive help and asking for help and really taking advantage. I have a lot of people that don't email me that have coaching with me, and I'm like, can't help if you can't ask. So this is also part of the practice. So if somebody feels really stuck, it's temporary, and see how you can support yourself. Absolutely. And if you don't have the money right now, then there might be other ways for you to be supported. And to support yourself as well by holding yourself, just giving yourself a hug for now. And be like, okay, I'm here. I do feel stuck. This is valid. And it's temporary.
Yeah, that's really lovely. I completely agree with all of that. And also for you to know that, I'm just a normal human being. So is Tanja. We did it. It was a bumpy road, but we got there. And that, there is light at the end of the tunnel. So many other recovery stories that Serpa show on their website. And to be kind to yourself. Just to be kind to yourself, to be patient. Be kind and patient. So that just leaves me really to thank you all for coming, for me to wish you sincerely the very, very best with your journey, whatever's coming up for you right now. And I wish you a very, very happy Christmas, whatever that is for you, not putting yourself under too much stress. Have a lovely, joyful Christmas, a great new year. And I hope that we will cross paths again another time. So thank you for joining us, and
thank you.
Happy Christmas, and take super good care of yourself. And thanks again to Tanja, because your story, I know, is going to help so many people. There is going to be another Tanja out there who is going to hear this story, and this could be life-changing for them. And I just truly thank you for sharing your story. It's really powerful. And for
thank
all the
you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. Goodbye, everyone. Take good care.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.